death and dying is a normal and natural process, and we educate them about all of those changes that are occurring with their loved one so that they have a better understanding of what's going on, and they're not necessarily trying to do things that are counterproductive to somebody who's approaching the end of their life.
That was Lyra McGinnis, CEO of Hospice of Cleveland County.
How do you handle it when you've got something going wrong? Maybe the patient is an atheist and you've got a well-meaning family member or somebody who's really got to take this time to convert them or do something with them, and you know they're well-meaning, but they're just driving this poor patient crazy.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's sort of an interesting question. That's where the whole team comes into play. With a nurse, a social worker, a grief counselor, a chaplain, and volunteers, as well as our physician. If that patient has a minister, that person typically is involved as well. But that whole team gets together, they meet, they're involved in the care, and they're the ones who have the conversations with both the patient and the family about things like that. And I always kid, I say, I don't know about most families, but my family, it's hard to get agreement on where we're going to go out to eat tonight.
Yes.
So something like that, and especially spiritual type things, really loom large at the end of life.
Certainly.
Yeah.
So the goals of the organization is just to maintain a person's dignity until their last breath.
That is true, and to make sure that they have the best quality of life that they can have in the time that they have left. As I mentioned, make sure that their pain is under control, any other symptoms, so that they can feel as good as possible. That takes away a lot of the anxiety that other family members might have. And an important thing to know is that hospice doesn't just take care of the patient, we also take care of the family. That's why you have that whole team of people.
Respect for the team to be able to do that, because I'm sure it's not always easy.
Well, it's not, and I tell you, the thing that makes it even harder is when we get referrals late in a person's life. Hospice is for people who have 6 months or less to live. If somebody is referred to us when they have 2 weeks to live, that's when you have a big challenge with helping the family understand what may be going on.
Yeah, and it has to be, because I can't imagine being without my husband. That just is too terrible for me to think about, and I can see where you can really have a lot of emotional, sad things going on.
Well, certainly.
It's going to be hard. Describe palliative care to me a little bit, because people get confused on those two things.
Yes, they do. Well, palliative care means care that is focused on pain control, symptom management. That's what the word palliative really means. And other symptom management, it can mean not just physical type things. That can also be helping people with their anxiety or fear or whatever else it may be. But so palliative care in general is more encompassing than hospice. Or I guess I maybe said that backwards. Hospice is a little more limited, because hospice really in essence is palliative care for people who have 6 months or less to live. Hospice is palliative care, but it's more than just palliative care, because it's for that time period as somebody's approaching the end of their life. Palliative care in general can be for anybody who has longer than 6 months to live. More than likely they have a serious illness that's causing them to have symptoms that are bothersome to them, but they may be getting aggressive treatment. It could be somebody who has cancer and still probably has 3, 4, 5 years to live, but chemo is making them feel bad, or other things are making them feel bad. And so our palliative care program exists for people like that. And again, our staff members know how to control pain and those other symptoms for people who have a serious illness. In essence, palliative care is to help eliminate or alleviate suffering for people who have a serious illness. It is a good transition program into hospice, because as people decline and get sicker, once they reach the point where they do have 6 months or less to live, then they're eligible for hospice, and hospice is a much more encompassing because of that whole team approach to care and all the things we're able to pay for. That's a big thing that hospice can do. Paying for medications, all sorts of lab work, all sorts of diagnostic tests, all the medical equipment that goes into the patient's home. If the patient goes to the hospital, we pay for that 100%, and there are no copays and no deductibles, all medications that are related to the person's illness. So it's a great, great benefit.
That really is.
Yes, it
huge.
is. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. I wish more people use the hospice business model. Thank you so much for your time today.